So when Mother Yudhishthira asked this question, then immediately Bhishma Deva is defining. When Krishna defines about the Krishna also defines about how the Chaturvarnya Maya system, Guna Karma Bhagashaha, how the four varnas have been made, and how the four varnas are defined with their modes of material nature. And in this way, what are the differences in the taste, in the thought processes, in the charity, in the religiosity, in the sacrifices, everything has been given in Bhagavad Gita. So here Bhishma Deva is also defining about the classifications of the caste and the orders of life. Purusha Sabhava Vihitan Yatha Varnam Yatha Shramam Vairagya Ragopadibhyam Paribhyam Amnato Bhaya Lakshanam Purusha Swabhava Vihitan Yatha Varnam Yatha Shramam Vairagya Ragopadibhyam Amnato Bhaya Lakshanam. So Purusha Swabhava, a human being, they acquire the qualities, and with that qualities what they have acquired because of the past life impressions, they get their prescribed duties, prescribed qualities, prescribed duties, and this gives classification in the caste, Varanam. Yatha Ashramam. In this also there is differences in the ashram also, orders of life. Vairagya Raga Upadhibhyam. So detachment and interaction by attachment. So in this way, there will be twofold divisions. The full twofold division is there is detachment and there is interaction by attachment. So caste and the orders of life has been given by individual qualification, and then in that also there will be twofold differences. One who is too attached, and because of that there is a lot of interaction because of the attachment. And one category is too detached. He can be a grahastha, but he is a detached person. He can be a sannyasi, but he has too much of attachment. Attachment to his position, attachment to his power. Even the pride of being a vairagi is also very dangerous. And there may be a grahastha who is very simple, who can be detached. So this twofold divisions is applicable to all the four varnas and all the four ashramas. Because generally we think, okay, it is sannyasi who is detached. He should be detached. Not necessary that he should be detached. Again, he may be in the robe of a sannyasi, but he is too attached. So these two divisions, these twofold divisions are applicable for all the four varnas and all the four ashrams. There may be a small brahmachari, a small young boy, who has no attachment for any materialistic things. He is too attached to Krishna and is too detached to all this materialistic thing. Then he is a brahmachari with a right mood, you can say. So he may be a brahmana, he may be a kshatriya, he may be a vaishya, he may be a shudra. A shudra, you may think, oh, he is in the fourth varna. But even if he is in the fourth varna, if he has attachment to Krishna, then he is a Vaishnava. So these twofold things, twofold divisions, that is detachment and interaction by attachment. So all these things applies to all the four varnas and for the four ashramas. Okay. So, Adi Satyaki Mataji, you read.
Hare Krishna Mataji, Danvat Pranam. 26. Purusha Swabhava Vihitan Yatha Varnam Yatha Shramam Vairagya Raga Padibhya Mamnato Bhaya Lakshanan. Translation and purport by Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. At Maharaj Yudhishthira inquiry, Bhishmadeva first defined all the classifications of castes and orders of life in terms of the individual's qualifications. Then he systematically, in twofold divisions, described counteraction by detachment and interaction by attachment. Wow. Purport: the conception of 4 castes and 4 orders
What
of
is the
life.
meaning? Contraction by detachment, interaction by attachment.
That is a bit difficult. So I'm going to ask you.
Contraction by detachment. So he contracts all the Maya. He is able to contract because of his detachment. Like a brahmachari, if he's too detached, he can easily reach the stage of sannyasi. But if there is an attachment, there is interaction. Interaction with Maya. Contraction to fight against Maya. Okay. So there
Right.
can be a sannyasi grahastha.
Right.
There can be a sannyasi Vaishnava, sannyasi Vaishya, sannyasi Brahmana. Detachment leads to contraction. Attachment leads to interaction. Interaction is again getting entangled. Interaction leads to entanglement. The more you interact with people, you get entangled. Isn't it? Your time is wasted. For no reason you talk something nonsense, which has no sense. So attachment leads to interaction, leads to entanglement. Detachment leads to contraction, leads to the goal of life. Okay. Perfect.
The conception of 4 castes and 4 orders of life as planned by the Lord himself, Bhagavad Gita 4.13, is to accelerate transcendental qualities of the individual person so that he may gradually realize his spiritual identity and thus act accordingly to get free from material bondage or conditional life. In almost all the Puranas, the subject matter is described in the same spirit. And so also in the Mahabharata, it is more elaborately described by Bhishmadeva in the Santi Parva, beginning from the 68th chapter. The Varnashrama Dharma is prescribed for the...
4.13, what it discussed, Chaturvarnya Maya system, Gunakarma Vibhakishana, Tasya Kartaram Apimam, Vidya Kartaram Avyayam. So because of the qualities, it is to accelerate the transcendental qualities. First, one should understand that one attains this Chatur Varnam and Ashrama according to his qualities. Now, one has to read.
The Varnashrama Dharma is prescribed for the civilized human being just to train him to successfully terminate human life. Self-realization is distinguished from the life of the lower animal engaged in eating, sleeping, fearing, and mating. Bhishmadeva advised for all human beings 9 qualifications. 1, not to become angry. 2, not to lie. 3, to equally distribute wealth. 4, to forgive. 5, to beget children only by one's legitimate wife. 6, to be pure in mind and hygienic in body. 7, not to be inimical toward anyone. 8, to be simple. And 9, to support servants of subordinates.
Support servant or one
subordinate.
So 9 qualities which define that he is a human. So all these qualities, not to become angry, not to lie, to equally distribute wealth, to forgive, to beget children, to be pure in mind, hygienic in body, not to be inimical to towards anyone, to be simple, to support servants and subordinates. This will categorize him as a civilized human being. Okay, read further.
One cannot be called a civilized person without acquiring the above mentioned preliminary qualities. Besides this, the Brahmanas, the intelligent man, the administrative man, the mercantile community, and the laborer class must acquire special qualities in terms of occupational duties mentioned in all the Vedic scriptures. For the intelligent man, controlling the senses is the most essential qualification. It is the basis of morality. Sex indulgence, even with a legitimate wife, must also be controlled, and thereby family control will automatically follow. An intelligent man abuses his great qualifications if he does not follow the Vedic way of life. This means he must seriously make a study of the Vedic literatures, especially of the Srimad Bhagavatam and the Bhagavad Gita. For learning Vedic knowledge, one must approach a person who is 100% engaged in devotional service. He must not do things which are forbidden in the Shastras. A person cannot be a teacher if he drinks or smokes. Wow. In the modern system of education, that academic qualification is taken into consideration without evaluation of his moral life. Therefore, the result of education is misuse of high intelligence in so many ways.
So actually, Acharya means one who has acharan. Acharati
Yeah.
iti acharya. He has to
Yes.
practice before he preaches.
Yeah.
Okay. From here, Ashok Prabhuji will read.
Thank you, Mataji.
Hare Krishna Mataji, thanks for the service. The Kshatriya, the member of the administrative class, is especially advised to give charity and not to accept charity in any circumstances. Modern administrators raise subscriptions for some political functions, but never give charity to citizens in any state function. It is just the reverse in the injunctions of Shastras. The administrative class must be well versed in the Shastras, but must not take to the profession of teachers. The administrators should never pretend to become non-violent and thereby go to hell. When Arjuna wanted to become a non-violent coward on the battlefield of Kurukshetra, he was severely chastised by Lord Krishna. The Lord degraded Arjuna at that time to the status of an uncivilized man for his avowed acceptance of the cult of nonviolence. The administrative class must be personally trained in military education. Cowards should not be elevated to the presidential throne by dint of numerical votes only. The monarchs were all chivalrous personalities, and therefore monarchy should be maintained provided the monarch is regularly trained in the occupational duties of a king. In fighting, the king or the president should never return home without being hurt by the enemy. The so called king of today never visits the war field. He is very much expert in artificially encouraging the fighting strength in the hope of false national prestige. As soon as the administrative class is turned into a gang of mercantile and laborer men, the whole machinery of government becomes polluted. The Vaishyas are members of mercantile communities are especially advised to protect the cows. Cow protection means increasing the milk production, namely curd and butter. Agriculture and distribution of the foodstuff are the primary duties of the mercantile community, backed by education in Vedic knowledge and trained to give in charity. As the Kshatriyas were given charge of the protection of the citizens, Vaishyas were given the charge of the protection of animals. Animals are never meant to be killed. Killing of animals is a symptom of barbarian society. For a human being, agricultural produce, fruits, and milk are sufficient and compatible foodstuff. The human society should give more attention to animal protection. The productive energy of the laborer is misused when he is occupied by industrial enterprises. Industry of various types cannot produce the essential needs of man, namely rice, wheat, grains, milk, fruits, and vegetables. The production of machines and machine tools increases the artificial living fashions of a class of vested interest and keeps thousands of men in starvation and unrest. This should not be standard of civilization. The Shudra class is less intelligent and should have no independence. They are meant for rendering sincere service to the three higher sections of the society. The Shudra class can attain all comforts of life simply by rendering service to the higher class. It is especially enjoined that a Shudra should never bank money. As soon as the Shudra accumulates wealth, it will be misused for sinful activities in wine, women, and gambling. Wine, women, and gambling indicate that the population is degraded to less than Shudra quality. The higher caste should also look after the maintenance of Shudras, and they should provide them with old and used garments. A Shudra should not leave his master when the master is old and invalid, and the master should keep the servant satisfied in all respects. The Shudras must first of all be satisfied by the sumptuous food and clothing uh, before any sacrifice is performed. In this age, so many functions are held by spending millions, but the poor laborer is not sumptuously fed or given charity, clothing, etc. The laborers are thus dissatisfied, and so they make agitation. The varnas are, so to speak, classifications of different occupation, and ashrama dharma is gradual progress on the path of self-realization. Both are interrelated and one is dependent on the other. The main purpose of ashrama dharma is to awaken knowledge and detachment. The brahmachari ashrama is the training ground for the prospective candidates. In this ashrama, it is instructed that this material world is not actually the home of living beings. The conditioned soul are material bondage, are prisoners of matter, and therefore self realization is the ultimate aim of life. The whole system of ashram dharma is a means of detachment. One who fails to assimilate this spirit of detachment is allowed to enter into family life with the same spirit of detachment. Therefore, one who attains detachment may at once adopt the fourth order, namely renounce, and thus live on charity only, not to accumulate wealth, but just to keep body and soul together for ultimate realization. Household life is for one who is attached, and the vanaprastha and sannyasa orders of life are for those who are detached from material service. The brahmachari ashram is especially meant for training both the attached and the detached. Hare Krishna Mataji.
Okay. दानधर्मान् राजधर्मान् मोक्षधर्मान् विभागशः त्रिधर्मान् भगवद्धर्मान् समासव्यासयोगतः. So in this way, Bhishma Deva explained about the acts of charity, then Rajadharma, the activities of the king, and Moksha Dharma, the actions of salvation. After speaking about the by divisions. By divisions, he explained. And then he explained about the duties of women, Sri Dharman. Then what is the devotee, the acts of the devotees? What is the duty of a devotee? Samasaha Vyasa Yogataha. In this way, briefly and extensively, he described about these duties. So king has a duty, a woman has a duty, a devotee also has a duty. So Sri Dharman, Moksha Dharman. So what is Moksha Dharman? How to attain mukti? Then what is Dana Dharman? What should be the charity? Raja Dharman. What is the duty of the king? Dana Dharman. How to give the charity? What should be a mood while giving the charity? Whom to give the charity? When you say dharma, means it includes everyone, everything. How, where, when, whom, everything comes. The process is there. Whom to be given? What is the goal of life? So in everything you have three knowledge. Sambandha jnana, avideya jnana, prayojana jnana. Even in dana also you see sambandha jnana. Why are you giving? So that you connect yourself to Krishna, sambandha. Abhideya, how to give, whom to give. And then prayojana. What's the goal of life? Why we are giving charity? What's the purpose? Somebody may say, I want to get ATG certificate, that's the purpose. That can be an external purpose. Nowadays everything is ATG. Now the ATG is also gone. 10B. Our income tax now, the time has come, one should get 10B. But the purpose of giving dana is not just to get income tax benefit. It will come by default. But the purpose of dana is to go back home, back to Godhead. To understand only by sacrifice one can attain Krishna. Yagyathat karmano netra lokoyam karma bandhanah. Tadartam karma kaunteya mukta sangha samachara. Only by sacrifice, yagyathat, for Krishna, then he can understand his relationship with Krishna. And he can be completely freed from the bondage. Or any other sacrifice is going to only bind him in this material world. Okay, Vimla, read. Prabhupada has written big purports for everywhere. Yeah.
Hare Krishna Mataji. Dana Dharman, Raj Dharman, Moksha Dharman, Vibhagashah, Sri Dharman, Bhagavad Dharman, Samasadhyasa Yogatah. Translation. He explained by divisions, acts of charity, the pragmatic activities of a king and activities of service. Then he described the duties of women and devotees, both briefly and extensively. Purport. To give charity is one of the householder's main functions, and he should be prepared to give any charity.
Your voice is not heard properly. Your voice is not heard properly. You can close your video and read. Off your video and read. Or Krishna Priya Mataji, you continue.
Okay, Mataji. Hare Krishna. Translation and purport by Srila Prabhupada ki jai. He then explained by divisions acts of charity, the pragmatic activities of a king and activities for salvation. Then he described the duties of women and devotees, both briefly and extensively. Purport. To give charity is one of the householder's main functions, and he should be prepared to give in charity at least 50% of his hard-earned money. A brahmachari or student should perform sacrifices, a householder should give charity, and a person in the retired life or in the renounced order should practice penances and austerities. Those are the general functions of all the ashramas, or orders of life on the path of self-realization. In the brahmachari life, the training is sufficiently imparted so that one may understand that the world as properly belongs to the Supreme Lord, the personality of Godhead. No one, therefore, can claim to be the proprietor of anything in the world. Therefore, in the life of a householder, which is a sort of licenses for sex enjoyment, one must give in charity for the service of the Lord. Everyone's energy is generated or borrowed from the reservoir of energy of the Lord. Therefore, the resultant actions of such energy must be given to the Lord in the shape of transcendental loving service for Him. As the rivers draw water from the sea through the clouds and again go down to the sea, similarly, our energy is borrowed from the supreme sources, the Lord's energy, and it must return to the Lord. That is the perfection of our energy. The Lord, therefore, in the Bhagavad Gita 9.2.7 says that whatever we do, whatever we undergo as penance, whatever we sacrifice, whatever we eat, or whatever we give in charity must be offered to Him, the Lord. That is the way of utilizing our borrowed energy. When our energy is utilized in that way, our energy is purified from the contamination of material in inbreately, and thus we become fit for our original natural life of service to the Lord. Rajadharma is a great science. Unlike modern diplomacy for political supremacy, the kings were trained systematically to become munificent and not merely be tax collections. They were trained to perform different sacrifices only for the prosperity of the subjects. To lead the prajas to the attainment of salvation was a great duty of the king. The father, the super spiritual master, and the king are not to become irresponsible in the matter of leading their subjects to the path of ultimate liberation from birth, death, diseases, and old age. When these primary duties are properly discharged, there is no need of government of the people, by the people. In modern days, the people in general occupy the administration by the strength of manipulated votes, but they are never trained in the primary duties of the king, and that is also not possible for everyone. Under the circumstances, the untrained administrators play havoc to make the subjects happy in all respects. On the other hand, these untrained administrators gradually become rogues and thieves and increases the taxation to finance a top-heavy administration that is useless for all purposes. Actually, the qualified brahmanas are meant to give directions to the kings for proper administration in terms of the scriptures like the Manu Samhita and Dharma Sastras of Parasara. A typical king is the ideal of the people in general, and if the king is pious, religious, chivalrous, and magnificent, the citizens generally follow him. Such a king is not a lazy, sensuous person living at the cost of the subject, but alert always to kill thieves and dacoits. The pious kings were not merciful to dacoits and thieves in the name of nonsensical ahimsa, non-violence. The thieves, one should one would dare commit such a nonsensics in an organized form. Such thieves and dacoits were never meant for administration as they are now. The taxation law was simple. There was no force, no encroachment. The king had a right to take 1/4 of the production made by the subject. The king had a right to claim a fourth of one's allotted wealth. One would never grudge parting with
Grudge,
it
grudge.
because due to the pious
Grudge.
king, grudge.
One would never grudge.
One second,
Actually,
Mataji.
1/4 of the income is taken by.
One would never grudge parting with it because due to the pious king and religious harmony, there was enough natural wealth, namely grains, fruits, flowers, silk, cotton, milk, jewels, minerals, etc. And therefore, no one was materially unhappy. The citizens were rich in agricultural and animal husbandry, and therefore they had enough grains, fruits, and milk without any artificial needs of soaps and toilets, cinemas, and bars. The
Okay,
kings
one
had
minute. It from your Kamalakshi Mataji, you read. Srila Prabhupada says artificial need was not there. Whatever real need is there, fruits, milk, vegetables, everything were growing very nicely. Okay.
Hare Krishna Mataji. The
Hmm.
king had to see that the reserved energy of humanity was properly utilized. Human energy is meant not exactly for fulfilling animal propensities, but for self-realization. The whole government was specifically designed to fulfill this particular purpose. As such, the king had to select properly the cabinet ministers, but not on the strength of voting background. The ministers, the military commanders, and even the ordinary soldiers were all selected by personal qualification. And the king had to supervise them properly before they were appointed to their respective posts. The king was especially vigilant to see all the tapasvis or persons who sacrifice everything for disseminating spiritual knowledge were never disregarded. The king knew well that the Supreme Personality of Godhead never tolerates any insult to his unallied devotees. Such tapasvis were trusted leaders even of the rogues and thieves who would never disobey the orders of tapasvis. The king would give special protection to illiterates, the helpless, and widows of the state. Defense measures were arranged previous to any attack by the enemies. The taxing process was easy, and it was not meant for squandering, but was for strengthening the reserve fund. The soldiers were recruited from all parts of the world, and they were trained for special duties. As far as salvation is concerned, one has to conquer the principles of lust, anger, unlawful desires, avarice, and bewilderment. To get freedom from anger, one should learn how to forgive. To be free from unlawful desires, one should not make plans. By spiritual culture, one is able to conquer sleep. By tolerance only can one conquer desires and avarice. Disturbance from various diseases can be avoided by regulated diets. By self-control, one can be free from false hopes, and money can be saved by avoiding undesirable association. By practice of yoga, one can control hunger, and worldliness can be avoided by culturing the knowledge of impermanence. Dizziness can be conquered by rising up, and false arguments can be conquered by factual ascertainment. Talkativeness can be avoided by gravity and silence, and by prose, one can avoid fearfulness. Perfect knowledge can be obtained by self-cultivation. One must be free from lust, avarice, anger, dreaming, etc. to actually attain the path of salvation. As far as the women class are concerned, they are accepted as a power of inspiration for men. As such, women are more powerful than men. Mighty Julius Caesar was controlled by a Cleopatra. Such powerful women are controlled by sinners. Therefore, sinus is important for women. When this control wall is loosened, women can create power in society by adultery. Adultery means production of unwanted children, known as Varna Sangara, who disturb the world. The last item taught by Bhishmadeva was the process of pleasing the Lord. We are all eternal servants of the Lord, and when we forget this essential part of our nature, we are put into material conditions of life. The simple process of pleasing the Lord, for the householders especially, is to install the deity of the Lord at home. By concentrating on the deity, one may progressively go on with the daily routine work, worshipping the deity at home, serving the devotee, hearing the Srimad Bhagavatam, residing in the holy place, and chanting the holy name of the Lord are all inexpensive items by which one can please the Lord. This subject matter was explained by the grandfather to his grandchildren. Hare Krishna Mataji.
About the three dharmas, see what is spoken. Shyness is the most important quality of a woman. And if she has this quality, she can win the men. As a Caesar, about the example of Cleopatra is given. Then adulteration is because of the free mixing and unwanted children are produced. So last item taught by Bhishmadeva was the Bhakti Dharma or Bhagavata Dharma, how to please Krishna. Other all dharmas are Bhautika Dharma, or you can say Arthika Dharma. As now Krishna is now Bhishmadeva is also speaking about the Paramarthika Dharma, how to please Krishna. How one pleases Krishna? By concentrating on the deity and slowly training our daily routine for the pleasure of Krishna. Is keeping Krishna in the center and doing all the activities. Worshipping the deity, serving the devotee, hearing the Bhagavatam, residing in a holy place, chanting the holy name. They are inexpensive items, inexpensive items by which Lord can be pleased. Dharmartha kama mokshamscha sahopayan yatha mune nanakhyane tihaseshu varnayamasa tattvavit. Dharmartha kama mokshamscha sahopayan yatha mune nanakhyane tihaseshu varnayamasa tattvavit. Tattvavit. This Tattvavit word has come in Bhagavad Gita many times. Tattvavit, Tattvadarshinaha, Tattvadarshibhihi. Tattvavit means one who knows the truth. Now what he knows? He knows about the occupational duty. He knows how dharma, artha, the economic development, which leads to fulfillment of a desire, and then ultimately to the salvation. Saha upayan, it becomes the means. Yatha mune, O sage. Nana akhyana. So there are different narrations speaking about it. Now Bhishmadeva is speaking to Yudhishthira Maharaj. The sages have described these occupational duties of different orders and giving examples also from itihasas, narrations, akhyana from itihasas, and in this way describing the truth. And what is the truth? Ultimately moksha, dharma, artha, kama should reach to moksha. And what is the real meaning of moksha? Mukti itvanyatha rupam swarupena vivasitihi. What is one's arthika dharma? What is one's paramarthika dharma? Two types of dharma every human being has, arthika, paramarthika. Whatever body you are having, you have a prescribed duty for that body. If you are a mother, if you are a son, if you are a grandchild, whatever, if you are a woman, if you are a man, everybody has a arthika dharma. You're speaking about the human body. Savai pumsam paro dharma. Yatho bhakti radhokshaje. Ahaituki apratiyata yatma suprasidati. When we speak about dharma, dharma is not for an animal. Any of an animal is not transgressing the laws of nature. You don't have to teach dharma for the animal. A dog's dharma is to bark. It does it. The dog eats cat. It does it. The cat eats the mice. Does it. They are not transgressing the law of nature. But when you are speaking about the arthika dharma, paramarthika dharma, it applies to a human body. Because human intelligence is also there. How to utilize the body in the fullest. So everybody has an arthika dharma, but it should not happen that he gives up paramarthika dharma for the sake of arthika dharma. If he gives up paramarthika dharma for the sake of arthika dharma, he is a fool number one. He is only shama evahi kevalam. Dharmastu nishtita pumsam vishwakshena gata suya na utpadate pumsam, then na utpadate. What happens? Shama evahi kevalam. So dharma swanishtita pumsam. Just now we have studied in second chapter. In first canto, second chapter, you have this verse. Dharma swanishtita pumsam vishwakshena katha suya. One should have love for hearing about Lord. But if it is not happening, na utpatite pumsam, if it is not happening, then shrama evahi kevalam. He is only wasting his time in doing hard work. Generally, we tell children, do work hard, work hard. Should say work hardly, hardly work. Too much of hard work is not necessary for a human. Human has an intelligence to grasp. Whole day, if you sit and study, whole day, if you're only occupied in some nonsensical work, actually it is a nonsense work because you're not working. Work should be, actually, even if you go to offices, I don't know, 8 hours, how they do this work. 8 hours, nobody can do one monotonous work. That is how the Britishers have introduced donkey system. How can a person do the same work for 8 hours? You're sitting before the computer, 8 hours computer. Is it not an ass work or donkey work? Because your mind will not allow you. Prabhupada says, your classes also should be not more than 30 to 40 minutes. That is why we restrict our classes to 1 hour, isn't it? Because our mind will not go. You may be sitting in the class, but you are not able to grasp. The same with children also. The less time you give, the more they study. More time you give, they just study less. Because they are not able to take it. You cannot absorb. You cannot absorb beyond your capacity. You may sit before the computer for 8 hours. You will not be doing any work with that efficiency. That efficiency is removed by introducing this type of donkey's work. Work for 8 hours. Why you have to work for 8 hours? Do the same work in 1 hour. Be smart. Engage yourself in different works. So that efficient work has been removed. So that is why a human should understand what should be his work. It's not that he just goes on working without any sense. So that has been given here. Dharma, Artha, Kama. Practically, why we are doing all this Arthika Dharma also? To understand Paramarthika Dharma, that is moksha. Okay, who will read? Gadadhar Prabhu, you read.
Hare Krishna Mataji, Danat Naam to you. Text number 28. Dharmartha Kama Moksham Sahopayan Yatha Mune Nana Jnaneti Haseshu Varnayam Asa Tattavi. Translation and purport by Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Then he described the occupational duties of different orders and statuses of life, citing instances from history, for he was himself well acquainted with the truth. Purport. Incidents mentioned in the Vedic literatures, such as the Puranas, Mahabharata, and Ramayana, are factual historical narrations that took place sometimes in the past. Although not in any chronological order, such historical facts, being instructive for ordinary men, were assorted without chronological references. Besides that, they happen on different planets, nay, in different universes. And thus, the description of the narrations is sometimes measured by 3 dimensions. We are simply concerned with the instructive lessons of such incidents, even though they are not in order by our limited range of understanding. Bhishma Deva described such narrations before Maharaji Yudhishthira in replies to his different questions. Hare Krishna. Thank you very much.
Dharmam pravadatastasya Dharmam pravadatastasya Sakalaha pratyupastitaha Yoginashchandam Yoginashchandam Mrityor वाञ्छितस्तुतरायणः धर्मं प्रवदतस्तस्य सकालः प्रत्युपस्थितः यो योगिनश्छन्दमृत्यो वाञ्छितं स्तुतरायणः. Bhishma Deva is now Pravadataha, describing occupational duties. Dharmam. Saha means he. That time, that is Kala. Pratyupastaha exactly appeared. How he appeared? He appeared like a mystic. Chanda Mrityuho. For one who dies according to one's own selection. Chanda Mrityuho. He has a choice. Ichha Mrityu. Vanchita. He desired that. Now Uttarayana, the period when sun runs on the northern horizon. So the mystics, they desire this time to leave their body. Uttarayana. Even in Bhagavad Gita, Krishna says, the yogis, they attain Uttarayana. The successful yogis, they attain Uttarayana, daytime, Shukla Paksha. Night time, Krishna Paksha and Dakshinayana. They are for unfortunate people, according to yoga mystic. Successful yogi, he wants to live at Uttarayana, and it should be Shukla Paksha also, it should be daytime also. Then in purport, Prabhupada says, for a devotee, he doesn't have to decide all those things. Whatever time he is leaving the body, he is remembering Krishna. So this is why a devotee doesn't demand, I want to die this time, I want to leave my body this time. No, whatever time of Krishna, let me not forget you even for a fraction of a second. That should be the real desire. Okay. Kusumataji, read why the phones are in.
Hare Krishna Mataji, Dandavad Pranam.
Keep the videos on.
Text 29. Dharmam pravadatastasya sakala pratyupashtitaha yo yoginash chanda mrityo vanchitastuttarayanah. Translation and purport by Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. While Bhishma Dev was describing occupational duties, the sun's course ran into the northern hemisphere. This period is desired by mystics who die at their will. Purport: the perfect yogis or mystics can leave the material body at their own sweet will at a suitable time and go to a suitable planet desired by them. In the Bhagavad Gita 8.24, it is said that self-realized souls who have exactly identified themselves with the interest of the Supreme Lord can generally leave the material body during the time of the fire god's effulgence and when the sun is in the northern horizon and thus achieve the transcendental sky. In the Vedas, these times are considered auspicious for quitting the body and they are taken advantage of by the expert mystics who have perfected the system. Perfection of yoga means attainment of such super mental states as to be able to leave the material body as desired. Yogis can also reach any planet within no time without a material vehicle. The yogis can reach the highest planetary system within a very short time, and this is impossible for the materialist. Even attempting to reach the highest planet will take millions of years at a speed of millions of miles per hour. This is different. This is a different science, and Bhishma Deva knew well how to utilize it. He was just waiting for the suitable moment to quit his material body, and the golden opportunity arrived when he was instructing his noble grandsons, the Pandavas. He thus prepared himself to quit his body before the exalted Lord Sri Krishna, the pious Pandavas, and the great sages headed by Bhagwan, Vyasa, etc., all great souls. Hare Krishna.
Next. Tadopa samhritya gira sahasrani vimukta sangama adi purushe krishnam krishne lasat pita pate saturbhuje purasthite milita drugvyadharaya tadoparatya gira sahasranir विमुक्त संगम मर आदि पुरुषे कृष्णे लसत्पीत पटे चतुर्भुजे पुरस्थिते मिलित ऋग्विधारयत्. Now, at the time, Bhishma was speaking so many subject matters. Now, what happened at that time when the Muhurta came? Upasamritya, he withdrew. He withdrew his speech first. Gira. Sahasrani, he was actually speaking in thousands of sciences and arts, so many subject matters Bhishma they were speaking. But at that time, when the sun goes to the northern hemisphere, enters Uttarayana, he first thing what he did was he stopped his speech. Vimukta Sangam. He completely became free from all the things. Now speaking about the administration, isn't it? It's not so easy to come out of the administration, but he first withdrew himself. Now in Kali Yuga, if you ask somebody how to renounce, first he has to renounce his computers and mobiles. If he renounces his computers and mobiles, that itself is a big thing. Manaha Adi Purushe. His mind is completely absorbed in the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Krishna. Unto Krishna. Lasatta Pitaha Pate. Now Krishna is dressed very beautifully with yellow garment. And now Krishna appears in the four-handed form before Bhishma Deva. Purushaha Sthiti Amilitaha Drik Vidharit. Without distraction, here Bhishma Deva fixes his mind onto Krishna, who is standing before him. He withdrew his mind from all the topics which he was actually discussing. Vimla Mataji, mute your phone. Mute your phone, Vimla. Morning also we had like this one, yeah? Mute your phone, mute your phone. I should not talk in the class. Disturbing everyone, isn't it? So, what did Lord do? He came and stood before Bhishma. And what did Bhishma do? When the right time came, he withdrew all the thought processes from different subject matters. That is what we are supposed to do. So when we should do this? At the time of quitting the body. Do we know the time? So that is why it is said, better be focused Krishna consciousness. Whatever extra things, whatever we are doing which is not required, just withdraw oneself from all these thought processes. Okay? So here 15 items have been given. What all should be done? Let us see. Jumur, can you read?
Yes,
Purport.
Mataji. Yes.
Let's start the purport directly.
Okay. In the momentous hour of leaving his material body, Bhishma Dev set the glorious example concerning the important function of the human form of life. The subject matter which attracts the dying man becomes the beginning of his next life. Therefore, if one is absorbed in thoughts of the Supreme Lord Sri Krishna, he is sure to go back to Godhead without any doubt. This is confirmed in Bhagavad Gita 8.5 to 15. And whoever at the time of death quits his body remembering me alone, at once attains my nature of this, there is no doubt. Whatever state of being one remembers when he quits his body, that state he will attain without fail. Therefore, Arjuna, you should always think of me in the form of Krishna and at the same time carry out your prescribed duty of fighting. With your activities dedicated to me and your mind and intelligence fixed on me, you will attain me without doubt. He who meditates on the Supreme Personality of Godhead, his mind constantly engaged in remembering me, undeviated from the path, O Partha Arjuna, is sure to reach me. One should meditate upon the Supreme Person as the one who knows everything, as he who is the oldest, who is the controller, who is smaller than the smallest, who is the maintainer of everything, who is beyond all material conception, who is inconceivable, and who is always a person. He is luminous like the sun, and being transcendental is beyond this material nature. One who at the time of death fixes his life here between the eyebrows and in full devotion engages himself in remembering the Supreme Lord will certainly attain to the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Persons learned in the Vedas who utter Omkar and who are great sages in the renounced order enter into Brahman. Desiring such perfection, one practices celibacy. I shall now explain to you this process by which one may attain salvation. The yogic situation is that of detachment from all sensual engagements, closing all the doors of the senses and fixing the mind on the heart and the life air at the top of the head. One establishes himself in yoga. After being situated in this yoga practice and vibrating the sacred syllable Om, the supreme combination of letters, if one thinks of the Supreme Personality of Godhead and quits his body, he will certainly reach the spiritual planets. For one who remembers me without deviation, I am easy to obtain, O son of Pritha, because of his constant engagement in devotional service. After attaining me, the great souls who are yogis in devotion never return to this temporary world which is full of miseries because they have attained the highest perfection. Sri Bhishma Dev attained the perfection of quitting his body at will and was fortunate enough to have Lord Krishna, the object of his attention, personally present at the time of death. He therefore fixed his open eyes upon him. He wanted to see Sri Krishna for a long time out of his spontaneous love for him. Because he was a pure devotee, he had very little to do with the detailed performance of yogic principles. Simple bhakti yoga is enough to bring about perfection. Therefore, the ardent desire of Bhishma Dev was to see the person of Lord Krishna, the most lovable object, and by the grace of the Lord, Sri Bhishma Dev had this opportunity at the last stage of his breathing. Hare Krishna.
So we'll stop here. Any questions you can ask. So this is the last chapter for this unit now exam. 7, 8, 9 will be the exam. 7, 8, 9 chapter. We have still approximately 49, 20 chapters to go. 3 classes. Okay. Tuesday, Thursday. I'll try to complete this Tuesday, Thursday. If not, then the next Thursday, Tuesday. Yes. Vasandani Prabhu, let out.
Hare Krishna Mataji. Mataji, I have 2 questions. If you permit me, I can ask. Mataji,
Ask.
first is, so many people, whether they are devotees or otherwise, they leave their body in Uttarayana. Do all go back to Godhead?
You should know the value also. No?
Sorry?
You should know what you have got, na? Then only you can value that thing. Like you are like some beggar is given a diamond. What is the use? He doesn't know the importance. The moment you don't know the importance, you don't achieve that benefit.
Okay.
So a useless, ignorant person, even if he leaves his body on the day of Ekadashi, no use.
Okay.
Why? Because he has no faith.
Okay.
It's like simple. An ignorant person, you keep in his hand some nice, wonderful gold article, but he cannot derive the maximum benefit out of it.
Okay.
Though he has got the fortune. The fortune is there, okay, leaving the body in Ekadashi, leaving the body on the day of Uttarayana. Fortune has got the fortune. But he should value the fortune also. Na?
Oh, okay. Okay. Does it mean, Mataji, people who are knowledgeable, but they leave the body in not in Uttarayan, do they lose the opportunity to go back to Godhead?
You remember Krishna at any time, then you're not losing anything. That's why I told you, devotees don't think which time they're going, whether Uttarayana or Dakshinayana.
Okay.
By night time or daytime.
Okay.
They're so absorbed in the service of Krishna, anytime they can leave the body. For them, it is nothing like Uttarayana, Dakshinayana.
Okay.
But Bhishma Deva is also a great devotee as well as he's a great yogi also. So yogis generally, they want this time to go. And what is he doing? While going also, what is he doing? He is meditating on Krishna, leaving aside all the thought processes from different subject matters.
Right. So Mataji is such a great devotee. Actually, there was no need for him to wait for Uttarayan. He could have left the body before that also, isn't it?
It is his wish.
It's his wish.
It is his wish.
Okay. Okay.
But what
Mataji,
is he doing? He's fixing his mind in Krishna. That is
okay.
what he's teaching. Even if a yogi leaves the body in the Uttarayana, but is not fixing his mind in Krishna, then what is the use?
No use. Right. Right. Mataji, second question is, Srila Prabhupada has always said that two-handed form of Krishna with flute in his hand is always, desirable. How come Bhishma Deva was desiring four-handed form of
That is
Vishnu?
what Prabhupada desires, two-handed form. Bhishma Deva wants Parthasarathi form. What is the problem?
No, I'm just asking.
Every Acharya has the rights to decide which form he loves. Somebody likes Ranganatha form. Somebody likes Prabhu Ram's form.
Okay.
Murari Gupta, in spite of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu speaking, he used to say, I like Prabhu Ram's form. And he used to fight with Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. I cannot meditate on Krishna, I can meditate on Prabhu Ram. What's the problem?
Okay.
Lord is one.
Okay. Thank you, Mataji. Hare Krishna.
Everybody cannot appreciate the two-handed form of Krishna. It's not so easy to appreciate the sweetness of Krishna, but it is very easy to understand the opulence of Krishna, Vishankha Chakra Gada Padma. Okay.
Right, Mataji. Thank you.
Who else? Jumur?
Yeah, Mataji, does that mean that despite chanting the Hare Krishna Mahamantra, one can focus on the deity that they desire, like in ISKCON also?
What? Veti? Veti
No,
means?
DT. Like you said, na, that somebody likes the Ram form, somebody likes Ranganatha.
Doesn't
So
matter.
which doesn't matter. Okay.
Doesn't
Okay.
matter. Hare Krishna Mahamantra is more important. Chanting.
Okay.
He
Because
may like
sometimes
sleeping form of Krishna. He can like the sleeping form of Krishna. He can like Adi Dagajananath form of Krishna. We went to so many Dividation. Somebody likes Tripulani form. Doesn't matter.
Okay.
Krishna can be in any posture. We cannot restrict Krishna to only being three-banded form. Just stand like this. No. He can lay down also. Na? Somebody told Krishna is Narayana lying down. Why Krishna cannot lie down? Why make Krishna always stand? He can lie down also. He can meditate on his devotees also. He can take the form of Yoga Narsimha. Somebody can like Narsimha form of Krishna. Doesn't matter. Focus on holy name and whatever form you love within your mind, you can meditate upon. Okay. Yes, Vimla?
Hare Krishna Mataji. A mystic leaving his body and a person committing suicide.
Lot of differences.
So
One is in knowledge, one is in ignorance.
okay.
Like a buffalo doesn't react to the situation, a knowledgeable person also doesn't react to the situation. Are they both on the same plane? No. Somebody comes and praises buffalo is as it is. Bhagavad Gita is also as it is. So buffalo as it is and Bhagavad Gita as it is has difference or not? Just because of as it is word is there. Okay.
Second question, Mataji. Is it necessary to install a deity of the Lord at home for Grahastha? Or
Yes. Yes.
oh,
The most important. Because if DT is there, you are focused in your services. Because the grahastha, what is the work of a grahastha? To cook food. He cooks the food, then he offers to Krishna, then he'll feed the other family members. So that is why Jagannath deities are the most prescribed deities. Radha Krishna deities are only given when a person is matured enough to serve. Not that everybody can serve Radha Krishna deities. Basic Jagannath deities or Gaur Nitai deities, they are the very compassionate deities. Even if you don't give them one-time food also, they will not fight with you.
photo of the
Rather, photo, yes.
yes.
You can have photos. Understanding तुम्हारा प्रतिमा नहीं साक्षात ब्रजेंद्र नंदन. You're not just pratima, you're sakshat Krishna who is standing. When I give food, you're eating. I can give 3 dosas, I can give 2 dosas, but you have to finish everything. And Krishna can say, if I finish everything, then what you are going to eat? That is why Krishna gives us back. Because today, if Krishna finishes everything, tomorrow you will not offer anything to Krishna. He's not giving us back.
So you're saying instead of Radha Krishna deity, one should have Jagannath. Lord
You can have
Jagannath.
photograph, you can have photograph of Radha Girdhari. No problem. But when you have Sevit Vigraha and photo Vigraha has some difference. Sevit Vigraha means you can dress them, you can give them bath. Photo Vigraha, you can keep, not a problem.
And today there is a democratic form of government. That time, how a king was selected, or how today it is on the basis of votes.
Democracy, Prabhupada says democracy.
Oh.
Prabhupada writes about it. Democracy. Crazy people select demons and make democracy. Autocracy, monarchy, where a responsible king is given the post. If the king is irreligious, then the Brahmanas have the right to kill the king, which they did when Vena was a very impious king. King Vena, Pruthu's father, Pruthu Maharaj's father. Pruthu Maharaj is Shakti Avesh Avatar of Krishna. Shakti Avesh Avatar. How Pruthu Maharaj was born? When Vena was completely churned, his body was, first they killed Vena, churned his body, and from the churning of the body, Pruthu is born. So what is the churning of the body? Whatever pious activities he did, that much was taken. And it was passed on to the son.
But how was it was decided like who will be the king? How it was decided?
By the strength.
Strength
and
of
also the family members.
family members.
And also the strength also. Not necessary. If the son also only should be the king. If the son is not eligible to become the king, then it happened. King Kalinga, in King Kalinga in Orissa, the hair was very small. You have the hair, no? Hechiaya. So the descendant was very small boy. And the king died. There's nobody to rule. At that time, there's a great sannyasi, Narhari Tirtha. He was just passing through Orissa, this Kalinga state. And the elephant was asked, very intelligent elephant was there. He was asked to garland a responsible person who can take the post of the king till the boy attains the right age. He went and garlanded Narhari Tirtha. In this way, Narhari Tirtha ruled King Kalinga, ruled the kingdom of Kalinga till the boy came to the proper age. And when the boy came to the proper age to give the kingdom to the boy asked something in return. What he wants something in return. He told, you give me Mula Rama deities. Now I went to Mantralayam. Mula Rama deities has been got by Narartita from King Kalinga. How it went to King Kalinga, that is another story. This is actually Mula Rama deities worshipped by Brahma. Then comes to Hanuman. Hanuman keeps in the locket. And somehow it comes to King Kalinga. Then it comes to Narahari Tirtha. In this way to Madhva. Narahari Tirtha is an ardent disciple of Madhvacharya. So Krishna has his own plan. Those days, the kings were completely subservient to Krishna. So Lord knew which wonderful Raja Rishi should be selected. Impious kings also were there, like Ravana and all. Okay.
Mataji, as you mentioned, so I see in ISKCON I've seen a few people who are worshipping Radha Krishna deities in their aspiring stage. So what happens? All their devotion goes in vain, or do they?
Why should go in vain? If they have got the prarabdha worshipping, let them worship. Na. It's recommended, don't do. If they are sincere in worshipping, Krishna is taking the services, no problem.
Okay. Okay.
Okay then. Vanchakalpatarveshakpa sindhukeshapattanam pavane vivaiஷ்ணவி